What's up, guys? We're going to be doing another segment, a little bit different. We're going to be calling this one Tactic Tuesday. If you guys have heard that term before with some of the content that I have put out before, you guys are OGs. You guys have been around for a while. This was a segment that I used to put out through written articles on LinkedIn and through my website. So this is going to be a way for me to kind of like round out my content. I do a lot of like macro and strategic type of content, but I want to make sure that I always kind of keep in mind that my main goal with any content that I put out is to give you guys value. And a lot of those things, though, are extremely valuable. Sometimes they're not easily implemented, that day or the next day. And I want to make sure I give you guys content, kind of immediate satisfaction. You guys can go into your business, in your career and kind of implement some of the things that I'm saying. So today we're going to be talking about Amazon listings, and primarily we're going to be talking about like top of the fold Amazon listings and kind of how to optimize those correctly to make sure you're getting the most amount of conversions. So kind of pull this back a little bit. Let's talk Amazon. If you guys are not on Amazon right now, I think you guys better have a pretty good sales channel strategy that justifies you guys not being on Amazon. And why I say that is, over 50% of every dollar spent e-commerce wise in the US is going to Amazon, and then over 50% of the searches for consumer products start on Amazon. So great for search visibility, second website, your social media, those things can all be aligned properly to make sure you guys have a really good presence through like the digital e-commerce side. And again, if you are wanting to sell products, people are there to buy, people are motivated to buy when they get onto Amazon. So if you do get them to your listing by sending outside traffic or getting organic or paid inside traffic to those listings, you can have a good chunk of sales coming out of Amazon. So why I'm talking about top of the fold is people become busier and busier. Their ability to kind of, spend time on listing, those things are not what they used to be. Because of that, a lot of times consumers are making decisions on an Amazon purchase based solely around the information that's like on top of the fold. And what I mean by top of the fold is kind of the area that is shown like before you have to start scrolling down on your mouse. So those areas are basically like your product title, your images, aggregated reviews, and kind of like your buy box area that has your price and then also some different offers. So I'm going to be going through just kind of like 5 sections that I think people need to pay attention to, and maybe if you're not implementing some of these things, make sure you guys are going into your Amazon and changing these things to optimize your top of your fold listing. So we'll start at kind of like the holy grail of kind of top of the fold, and that's the Amazon reviews. And just society in general, the goal with these reviews or just any kind of search engine that's kind of towards a certain area of commerce, be it like a Yelp with like restaurant reviews, most of those things, they're trying to like scale the unscalable, which is, most people will purchase something based around recommendations of their friends. This is kind of a way to take it and digitize it. A recent survey showed that 88% of Amazon buyers actually trust the reviews just as much as they would trust a individual recommendation from a friend. And though there's kind of a lot of fake reviews and not trusted reviews and a lot of things that people kind of point to with Amazon, regardless of whatever is out there in the news that people like to kind of spread, surveys like that prove that these reviews are extremely important and they shouldn't be taken kind of lightly. So are all reviews created equally? And the answer to that is no. There's a lot of different kind of things that are important in reviews. First one is kind of like a verified review. Amazon made that change recently where if a product was purchased from a consumer and that consumer made a review, there would be a mark that said verified over one that was just kind of, you pushed to make a review, they didn't buy a product from Amazon, but maybe they bought it from your website. That's going to be a non-verified review. So verified reviews are given preference over non-verified reviews. If you have too many non-verified reviews, Amazon can actually lock down your listing to make sure there's only verified reviews, just because they see some unusual activity that they want to kind of stop from the review process to kind of curtail a lot of like the fake reviews and things that kind of a lot of the sellers use to prop up some of their listing. And also like length matters. The more like kind of long the reviews are, the more kind of preference those reviews get. Also, those reviews can be upvoted a lot. If you guys look on any listing, you could see upvoted reviews, things that are given like a thumbs up are usually put higher on the like recommended reviews to look at. And then the last one's just kind of like media rich reviews. So adding a photo, adding video content, anything like that actually is given a lot more importance for the review process. When you are trying to look at your reviews or get more reviews, make sure that those things are kind of put in your back of your mind, so you make sure that you are getting the best reviews possible. And then the big kind of question that anybody ever asks is, how do you get more reviews? The algorithm in terms of Amazon does give you benefit the more reviews you have, and I think over maybe a 4 or 4.2 rating overall, you get a kind of a plus on their algorithm, so they'll give you more preferential treatment. But sometimes it's hard for you to get reviews. I would start with some kind of like organic kind of things to kind of help with reviews. One of the things you could do is kind of add a sticker or kind of like an insert or something into your packaging that does ask for a review. There are some issues with that depending on kind of the language that you have in your list sticker or your handout, but overall, asking for reviews from an analog standpoint will help you get more verified reviews. Secondly, from a digital side of things, I know there are some different plugins or companies offer to email some of the people that did buy your product. That could work, but it's also one of those things where a lot of people get inundated with emails throughout the day, and I know for myself, I usually just delete those out pretty quickly, so I don't even kind of take that into consideration. If there was a sticker on my packaging that I had to use every single day and look at, be more willing to do a review for that product. So that's why I do suggest looking at kind of analog approaches as well. And then kind of after you do those types of things, I would suggest creating some type of coupon. That coupon can be 50% or more. I think you can go up actually to like 99%. That code would be something that I believe you would use for your own kind of like email lists, or engage with some of your like most loyal customers and give them a code that offers them basically a product for almost free in return for a review. And you can't really say like in return for a review. I know there's some things that could really hurt your listings if Amazon did find out that you are kind of doing a tick for tack type of an approach. But most of your best customers will understand what you're trying to accomplish there, and they'll kind of help you with that. And that's a way that you can get like a ton of reviews. I would make sure that you have the marketing budget or just kind of the profitability to be able to handle something like that. But it's honestly a really good way to get reviews fast. So moving on to like another section, one that I believe is also extremely important is the product images. And the first one is around the kind of like the shift that Amazon's made recently with like mobile optimized or mobile ready type of images. And basically you're looking at a really high quality render that could be zoomed in and out. You're also looking at if you have the ability to high quality product photography, that's another way to do it as well. And that's pretty obvious. I mean, Amazon, when you do start up some of the listings, they give you some recommendations on what they would like. It has to be within certain specifications. So high quality, the best quality you can on that first hero image is going to be extremely important. Depending on the type of categories that you're selling, I would suggest making sure you have imagery, high quality imagery that shows what's inside the box or what's inside the packaging, because this is a different buying process than you do when you go into like a store where you can touch, feel, smell, all those types of things. You want to make sure you have imagery that is able to kind of like show those things from a digital perspective. So selling a protein bar or something like that, you want to make sure that you have the protein bar unwrapped. What does it look like inside the protein bar? That could be an image, that could be a graphic, a graphic design type of element that breaks things down. But you want to kind of show what's inside the actual packaged good. And then thirdly, like lifestyle imagery, things where you can actually show the product being in use, showing how a happy customer, showing a certain landscape that benefits your product, or just really high quality imagery that quite honestly you probably are already producing for your social media. Those do really well on Amazon listings, and it should be something that you add as not necessarily maybe your first couple images, but it's one of those things where you can definitely add to the image collection that they give you. And then if we're talking primarily like functional food, beverages, nutritional supplements, the things that I primarily focus on. You want to have some kind of like call out imagery that is talking about your function, talking about some of the elements that are in your product. Are you gluten-free? Are you using all natural ingredients? All those types of things play pretty well. Simple kind of like high quality icons do really well. You can create a bunch of different kind of like graphic design elements, and those things are just kind of a way to break down like elements on your label that you're already kind of uploading already, but this is a way to kind of break out some of the call outs and things in a way that's like more effective for your consumer. Now, kind of the third area of like above the fold Amazon optimization for your listings is going to be your title. For a while, Amazon was really kind of cutting down on what your title had to be, especially if you're in certain categories in grocery. They wanted things to be pretty consistent. Now, there's a lot more ability for you to what they call like keyword stuff, and you want to make sure that you're adding a lot of like really rich keywords that are going to be searched organically. There's not one way to do it more than others. There's a lot of like plugins or apps or programs that help you with some of like keywords or kind of the SEO part of things. I work with a company called OneSpace to do some content creation for them. I know they have a really good platform. That would be one that I would say take a look at if you are a company that is doing a lot of business through tons of different e-commerce kind of websites. I know that their platform works for tons of different ones, be it jet.com, I think Chewy, Walmart. But I'd take a look at them. I'll link them below. You guys can take a look at that. But overall, I mean, the title is just another way to kind of stuff some SEO keywords in it. And if you're not utilizing it to its fullest potential, you're missing out on some sales. One that's probably pretty obvious to most of you guys, but one that I want to make sure that you guys are aware of is make sure your product is in stock, and not only in stock, but at an FBA warehouse. Prime badge is quite honestly one of the biggest reasons why a consumer purchases a product or not. At over 100 million Amazon Prime members, those Prime members are trying to justify that over $100 a year membership fee. They want to support and buy products that do have the Prime badge, so they know they can get it within 2 days. Secondary, like on that buy box, what I want people to kind of start thinking about is exclusivity or 100% owned Amazon listing. The strategy within kind of functional food, beverages, nutritional supplements, what I would suggest is if you have the capabilities of understanding how to run Amazon and optimize it correctly and do everything, be it operational side of things, finance side of things, everything, if you could do all that yourself, make sure you have a 100% owned strategy. So if you have distributors, you have long-standing relationships, things like that, you need to start talking to those different channel partners and telling them, hey, I would not like you guys to list things on Amazon anymore. I want to have that kind of cleaned up. I want to make sure the price integrity is 100%. I want to own that channel 100% through and through, so the information is correct, the pricing is correct, the customer experience is correct. Everything is perfectly aligned with your branded approach. Now, if you are a brand that does not have those capabilities, or you're missing on pieces of those capabilities, I would suggest going out and trying to find an Amazon power seller that will be able to handle some of the operations, some of the listings, some of the maybe the customer service, some of the finance, whatever that is. Make sure that they're kind of like a full turnkey, full scale provider, and they'll be able to kind of walk you through that. And though you might have to give away some of the margin or kind of a monthly fee, doing that is going to be more important than trying to do what most people have done for the last 3 to 5 years, and that is have tens of different competitors on a buy box. And what ends up happening is the demand isn't there for the supply that's on Amazon, and over time those prices go down as the inventory ages on different sellers' books. A seller's not going to follow MAP or your suggested pricing if they have money that's sitting on their shelves collecting dust. Overall, they're going to risk it to get the biscuit, and they're going to end up selling those products for under your price. Some of that supply-demand curve to change a little bit. So having kind of an exclusive listing, be it own it yourself or having one exclusive Amazon power seller, it takes away all of that stress. You don't have to worry about that anymore. Price integrity can be 100% through and through. It can be consistent with your direct-to-consumer site. It can be consistent with all your other e-commerce sites. So you have a true, consistent price integrity. And if you want to inspire to be somebody with like the best price integrity out there, look at Apple. Apple, you can look at any channel. Their prices are almost always the same. You're going to get an iPad for $699. Everywhere you go, it doesn't matter. There's going to be no discounts. There's going to be no promotion. It's kind of a good way to spin that around. For the last point that I wanted to make was inside the buy box, or kind of a little bit outside the buy box, you have some ability to do conversion drivers. You have like a promotional section, a coupon section, that when somebody does click onto your listing, they have kind of that, you know, if you buy 2, you get $5 off. If it's a first time purchase, you get 20% off. There's just a lot of different coupons that you can kind of put in there to help somebody make that final kind of conversion when they are on your listing. And then depending on what kind of category you're in, if you're in a fast moving consumer good, or you're in a consumer packaged good that is kind of like a repeat purchase behavior, you want to look at subscribe and save. And if you guys are not aware of just kind of the trends that are going on with subscription models, they're becoming extremely popular in a lot of the categories of consumer packaged goods and fast moving consumer goods. So you want to look at that. Those items and anything that I'm kind of talking about on this Tactic Tuesday, this should be thought of not as how do I get to perfect. It's a way for you to constantly test things. There's going to never be a perfect. Amazon is constantly changing their algorithm. Your competitors are constantly changing their listings. People are getting ranked different ways. People are changing prices. People are moving around. So this is something that needs to be like constantly kind of looked at. But if you're not kind of touching on those 5 areas that I talked about and not like looking at them and making sure that you are changing them on a very consistent basis, you're going to be left behind in terms of your Amazon competitors. And I think most people at this point are trying to focus a lot of their attention on Amazon and getting the most dollars they can out of that channel. So if you are not looking at these 5 areas that I kind of just brought up during Tactic Tuesday, you're doing yourself or your brand a disservice. So since this was the first kind of Tactic Tuesday I did with video, commenting below helped me out. If you guys have watched this long, make sure you guys are smashing the thumbs up button. That helps me out a ton. I don't charge for this content, so if you did get some value out of it, all I ask is that you tell a friend, tell a colleague. Hopefully we can grow this community a little bit stronger and a little bit bigger. But I want to thank you guys for taking time out of your day to listen to me a little bit. Hopefully you guys got some value, and I'll see you guys on the next one.